Alright, so I recently finished playing through a trio of games Bandai Namco put out, like, around April Fool's Day. Like, the whole situation almost reminds me of the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog thing Sega did last year. I don't know if it was actually for April Fool's Day, though. I mean, I guess this game right here, Duranko Wonko, does kind of fit that tone. But overall, I feel like it was more of a, hey, we've got some smaller teams with these unique ideas that we want to, test out, see if there's an audience, maybe, make a full product out of it. Which I hope they do for all of them. I will say this one, Duranko Wonko, was probably my favorite of the group, but it's also probably the one I have the hardest time seeing as a full game. That's not to say that it's impossible, but it's kind of like, where do you go from here, I can picture them maybe, having a full product with a couple houses, maybe. I don't know how people would feel about having to say goodbye to the Pomeranian and play as, another animal at, a different location. They can maybe even come up with some sort of goofy inner, connected story between them and that. Oh yeah, because I remember being worried at first that this was going to clean up the mess I was about to make. I thought I was meeting my first enemy, but no, it was a friend. The game almost reminds me, in a weird way, of Katamari, with its goofy tone and just sort of the of going around and messing up the environment you're in. Eventually, unlocking new areas and such. I remember in this too. Was I the only one where it was like on the second floor you have to unlock like an extra box to jump on? But I was initially thinking I was like bringing pillows and other stuff from around the house over to try to unlock that area, which wasn't how that worked. But yeah, I did pretty much clear it 100% all the different challenges they had in that too, which was fun to go back to, especially after that first time. Try to master the game, I guess, a little more. I will give a little hint. I was a little worried about the one goal of doing so much damage, but it is doable. Just keep going, even if that I think it may have been multi-million or billion-dollar numbers seems impossible without a lot of grinding. They take care of you there. I don't know, maybe they could have done different challenges because you have all sorts of different colors around in that too. They can do stuff like that in the future too. Who knows? That was probably the most popular of the games too, but there was two others. This one is Not Too Lot, and this one's kind of weird because I find it to almost be the opposite of Duranko Wonko. Now, I'm not saying I disliked the game. I think this was pretty fun too, but it was probably the one I enjoyed myself out of the group the least. But at the same time, I feel like the potential for a full game is probably the highest with this one. It's kind of weird because I don't know what stealth game to really compare it to, but there is a lot of stealth elements. Or maybe that's not the best way to put it. Stealth is a key gameplay element, is better. But also sort of the puzzles and tone kind of remind me a little bit of Portal. Yet, that some of the characters and your ability to obtain other abilities reminds me of Kirby. With sort of, I don't know, the cutesy character designs, I guess. Maybe tone wasn't the right word when I said what reminds me of Portal. Maybe more of just the scenery and aesthetic a little bit, if that makes sense. But yeah, from what I remember, I did pretty much 100% complete this one too. I did miss the last, there's like a bonus collectible in each area, and I missed the last one, but since I kind of don't want to spoil what the last level is, because it's a little different if you decide to check this out, but it's time sensitive, and it would require doing the whole level all over again, which, you know, being the last one, it was one of the longer ones too. I just didn't think it was really worth it. But yeah, I think there was only like 3 or 4 robots you can hijack. I can picture them going, you know, a lot more all out with that, and just all the sorts of different puzzles you can make with it in that too for a sequel. Or I don't know if it would be a sequel if you were to, you know, expand this into a full product. I should also say that when I say 100% completed these games, I mean that there's like 3 levels in each, and it takes like a half hour to an hour in each one. So it's, I guess, kind of what you would expect from a free game, but, or at least of this nature, not being, you know, gotcha or anything. I forget, because I remember something that I thought was a little weird. Because I remember with Duranko Wonko and Not a Lot that you had to change the language when you went in, that it defaulted at Japanese, I would guess. I think Bandai Namco is a Japanese company. I don't know. I just found that a little strange that they didn't, you know, I don't know, have the default language of your region. No big deal. Was able to easily find out how to change that in Duranko Wonko, and it was pretty similar in Not a Lot too, even though I didn't necessarily find you know, guide or anything online. I just sort of had to guess around in some menus and that, but figured it out pretty quickly. I forget if that was the case with this one too, though. But this is the one I don't think. I think there was extra collectibles, but I don't remember for sure. But if there was, I didn't actually do them in this one. I don't really know why. I guess, well, like I said, I had a lot of fun with Duranko Wonko, and with the other game, Not a Lot. I feel like a lot of the extra collectibles I sort of just found naturally. Maybe these ones are a little more out of the way and I wasn't seeing them. And I would have to go back, and I just didn't feel particularly motivated to. If that was even the case, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there wasn't an extra collectible and I'm remembering wrong. Maybe just from anticipating there being one or thinking there should be one. Yeah, because I'm struggling here with this one. I remember it. Took me a little bit, but I get it soon, I think. But yeah, to me, this is sort of right down in the middle in terms of the fun I had with it and the potential of, you know, a full game sequel, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of funny enough, though, that this is kind of the one I feel like they set up the most for more. I mean, they gave each of the games a little bit of a story, you saw, which I guess wasn't really that necessary, I feel like. But whatever. I don't know, it just got me thinking, especially for like these demos, how they still have to try to come up with, for some reason, for you to be doing what you're doing in the game, I guess. Which is, I don't know, it's kind of weird in a way that no one anymore will just be like, here's what you can do, have fun. Maybe I'm exaggerating, I don't know. But the ending of it, like I wouldn't say it ends on a cliffhanger, but they sort of leave it in a decent position to be picked back up again and continued, is probably the best way to put it. But yeah, overall, I think this had a pretty neat concept, though. And they do, you know, introduce other ways to utilize these, you know, throwable, rideable rails that you have later on. And I don't know, it's just like with the other one, I can almost imagine, you know, just some of the other robots in that, where this one, I'm kind of struggling myself to imagine other things they can do with this, but at the same time, I'm not a game planner. I may not be the most creative at that sort of thing. I'm sure there's more creative people who actually, you know, especially after working on the game, who probably could come up with a lot of decent ideas that I wouldn't have, which is the fun of games sometimes. But yeah, I mean, this is all 3 of these games you can download on Steam right now for free, at least. I don't believe any of this was on consoles, but I could be wrong, and maybe it eventually will be on other places. But you know, why not check them out and see if it clicks with you, especially if you have Steam.